everybody, it's T. Now today I'm going to tell you a paranormal true story of the house we lived in before this one. Now I know that in my videos and in my radio shows I always talk about that I used to live in like a haunted like 1907 house, and I ended up moving to a haunted 1904 Victorian next to a funeral home. Like, who does that, right? So it's funny because I say the word haunted, but I think I say haunted because that's kind of everybody else's definition of what kind of story this would be. But actually, this is like my whole life. Every house I've ever moved into has had spirits in it. But I guess it was this house, before the one that we're in now, that was so evil-like that I had to go. Normally I can deal with it, you know, I can, another spirit in the house, or even the ones that are like angry, you know, I just kind of deal with it and like, okay, well, they'll leave, well, hopefully, you know, and I just kind of do that. And okay, 2008 we moved into this, I guess it was like a Victorian. It looked more like it looked like a Victorian because it had like the wraparound porch and stuff. We moved into this house. Now the very first 3 months we were in the house, nothing. No big deal. You know, I saw a few spirits, but again, my whole life, my whole childhood, I've always seen spirits. It was no big deal, nothing new. It's just different house, different spirits, you know. And after about 3 months, something weird started happening. You know, I would see something out of the corner of my eye and I'd look and it'd be gone. Now let me say this. Most spirits don't hide from me because they don't know I see them because I ignore them. And so unless I look at them or directly talk to them, they're not, that girl see me, you know, type of thing. And I'm so used to ignoring them, walking with my head down, and something was off. And I would catch this guy with like this long trench coat and this hat, and I'd be like, who is that? You know, and I would go to sleep at night and I would have these visions of like the 1800s and this man and this hat and this trench coat, and he was like digging and digging and digging, and I never could figure it out. You know, I was making my husband go in the crawl space, dig it up. You know, I just went crazy for like 6 months. I was like, let's dig up this house. I made him dig up the yard and dig up the crawl space. We was digging, okay? Well, I wasn't, he was. But I never found anything, and I was like, why is this guy digging? It was so weird. So there for a while he kind of disappeared. When we started digging, it was almost as like he just kind of left. Well, when we stopped digging, this little boy started coming. This little boy started coming to my kids. This boy with blonde hair used to come to my kids, and they used to say their name and wake them up out of their sleep, and they'd be like, Mom, somebody's saying my name and waking me up. And I'm gonna tell you something, my whole life I've been having spirits say my name and wake me up out of my sleep, but this one would say my name and make it sound like my husband's voice. So I would wake up and be looking for him. Now this is the ex-husband. I'd be waking up and looking for him, and he'd be at work, and I'm like, what's happening? You know what I mean? I'd be like, this is off, because even though I've seen spirits my whole life, they haven't purposely disguised their voice or changed it or did this whole weird shape-shifting like thing, you know. So am I seeing a little boy? Am I seeing the man? Is the man the boy? Is the boy the man? I mean, it just got crazy. And so one day, I woke up from a dream. It was one morning. Well, I say day because it was probably noon, you know, so whatever. And so I woke up and I had this weird feeling that there was something dead in my house. Here we go with the digging, right? I feel like that, God, what was that movie with Kevin Bacon? What was that? Oh, Stir of Echoes. That's what I felt like. I feel like the movie Stir of Echoes. I'm starting to dig up my whole house now, you know, because what is going on? So we had concrete, like, in one of the rooms in the basement, and I made him chunk it up. I know, what am I doing? This is crazy. And so the basement wasn't finished. You know, it was like a concrete basement, you know, and part of it went up, and that was finished with our laundry room, but the rest was just like storage area. So, you know, and we owned the house, so, you know, who was going to get mad, you know? I didn't find anything. So I'm like, what is going on? This is nuts. So I let it go for like another 3 months. Well, we ended up getting a dog. We hadn't had a dog in a while because I had this dog named Precious. It was a Lapun Chow. She was black. She was beautiful. She died when she was 12 years old. Broke me and my kid's heart. Well, we got this black dog from the Humane Society. It was just a puppy. And for a long time, the puppy wouldn't like go in certain rooms of the house. It was very weird. And the one room that the dog, which named Wicca, I'm sure you've all seen him on my Facebook, but the one room the dog wouldn't go in was my daughter's room. Now, my daughter had hamsters. She had like, look, this is what happened with this. We bought this hamster at the pet store. The hamster was pregnant. We didn't know it. We had all these hamster babies. Okay. So the hamster babies, my daughter was, you know, everything was great. They were growing. They were so cute. You know, we were going to, like, give them away to, like, you know, see if anybody wanted it, friends, neighbors, whatever. And they started dying. It was so weird. Every morning we'd wake up and a hamster would be dead. So we're like, okay, something was wrong with the babies. You know, they weren't developed right or something. And then the mom died. What is going on? So, and that was the room that my daughter was in that the dog wouldn't go in, would refuse to go in. So I was like, okay, we're not going to get any more pets, you know, because that was freaky, you know. So we didn't get any more pets or anything like that. And so the dog basically stayed outside. The dog loved it outside, and we had a fenced-in yard. So the dog would go out there and play and bark at people and have a good time. And one day, and this was probably like a year later after we got the dog's like 1 year old now. The dog is digging in the backyard. Okay, we haven't chunked up the backyard yet. You know, and it had this concrete patio with these concrete like stepping stones that went out to like the driveway. And the dog started digging and just going crazy. So I tell my husband, I'm like, get out there and see what that dog's trying to dig up. Because I'm thinking there's a dead animal out there or something from the people before, and I didn't want the dog, you know, getting it or whatever. So my husband comes back in, and he's holding a human tooth. Not a tooth that broke off. This tooth had roots and all. So I'm thinking to myself, how does a human tooth with roots get in the backyard? You know, it's so strange. So I'm like, what is going on? This is so weird. So I'm like, okay, maybe back in the 1800s, they pull their own teeth. You know, I'm making excuses left and right? The next day. Oh, and I'll insert a clip here of the dog finding the tooth and the little baggie with the tooth in it here. So then the next day, the evil ghost guy's back, right? And I'm like, what? He's back. So I didn't know why the guy was back. But I had caught a picture of him outside my office door. You could see the trench coat. You could see everything. I've been searching like crazy. I actually sent my friend Gail, was it Gail? I think a picture of it. I can't remember. But I have to find it. And if I find it, I'll insert it here. But it was so weird. I just could not figure out why this guy kept coming, and nobody in the house saw him. They would hear things and hear him, but I was like the only one that saw him. The longer we were there, the more he manifested almost into like a person. Now, granted, most spirits I see do look like people, but you could tell they're ghosts, they're spirits. This guy hid in the beginning and then slowly started to manifest into like a ghost spirit. It was crazy. I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I would go to sleep at night and he'd be digging again. And I'm thinking, what is he digging for? Now, mind you, we already found the tooth, which I just said, okay, we're not going to worry about this. It's just a tooth. Somebody could have yanked their tooth out or whatever, weird. Find another tooth. I don't know what's going on. Did somebody just like rip all their teeth out? So I'm like, okay, maybe it's a dog tooth. Maybe. So we take it to a dentist. It's a tooth. It's a human tooth. Both of them. We found 2 now. So I'm like, oh my God, is there a dead body in the yard? So I'm like, should we call the police? I'm thinking there's a dead body in the yard. So I do call the police because I had some police friends, because I worked downtown at the time. I was a family law attorney, so I worked downtown in child support. And I call the police, and I'm like, you have to come to my house and see this. So my friend comes to the house, and he walks up on the porch, and he's like, let me see it. So he's like, it's teeth. I'm like, I know it's teeth, but they have the root and everything. So he's totally not taking it serious. He thinks I've lost my mind. I'm off my rocker. He's like, when you find a whole skull, let me know. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't find a whole skull. So I'm like, oh my God, so what do we do? Well, he's like, okay, I'm going to go out there with a sledgehammer and I'm going to beat up all the concrete blocks. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to tear up the whole yard. So I'm like, you know what, just do it. So he goes out there and he starts banging up all the concrete and putting it in wheelbarrows, and we're just making a hellacious mess. I mean, just all over the place. Dirt. Neighbors are like, are they burying bodies? No, we're looking for one, but we didn't say all that. But we dug up the yard. Now, the concrete patio where the dog had dug under, and that's in the first picture I showed you where you could see the dog digging, and it was like a concrete patio. We never chucked that up because it was right attached to the house and the foundation. I was scared that if we did that, like the house would like start to lower or sink or whatever because it was so old. So I was like, we're not going to do that. But I thought, man, there's a body under the house. I was so positive of it, My little psychic spidey senses are going, there's a body. I know it, because I would have these dreams of this guy digging, and there'd be bodies and coins and weird things in these dreams. Let's talk about the dreams. So in the dreams, the guy is digging up the crawl space, and he's digging up like the backyard, and there's like bodies and coins and little bottles of poison and bottles of alcohol. And I'm like, okay. So maybe this was like some sort of like bed and breakfast once upon a time, and maybe he was poisoning people, robbing them and burying them in the yard. I had all these ideas of what was going on because of the psychic dreams I was having. The more dreams I'd have, the more violent they got. Finally, I was like, we got to get out of here because I felt so threatened. He was saying my kid's name. He was shape-shifting from, look, let me tell you this. One day I was home. The kids were upstairs, and I was downstairs cleaning the kitchen. My husband walked in the back door, asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm doing the dishes. He walked downstairs, and I heard him like rummaging through the tools and stuff, and I'm like, I wonder what he's doing. I didn't think nothing of it until he walked in the front door and had just pulled up. And I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? What are we doing? He's like, what is your problem? I'm like, aren't you downstairs? And he's like, no. And I'm like, what the frick-a-frack? So I run down the stairs and there's nobody there. I don't even see like the guy like in his ghost form. And I'm thinking, oh my God. He is shape-shifting, and I have never seen that prior to this. And I've seen a lot of stuff. When I was young, there used to be this old Wicked Witch looking thing outside my window, like a real spirit. But she looked like a witch you'd see like in a Halloween movie, and she would be all like, have the hat and the green face, and I would be so terrified that I would run downstairs and try to get in bed with my foster mom. Can you please sleep with you? I'd be terrified. This was my whole life. I would have dreams and ghosts would come to me, and I would be 6 years old and ghosts would come to me, ask me to help them find things, and I'm like, and I would sleep with the covers over my head. I slept with the covers over. I still sleep with the covers over my head. Let's not lie, T. So, yeah. But this was the first time I had seen one start to shapeshift from this to that, from this to that, and it was so weird. I started to feel threatened. I started to feel like he was going to attack me. because he kept, like, I don't know, you know, the animals were dying, and I hadn't experienced that before. Everything just got so weird. We dug up the tooth. I was having the bad dreams. He kept shape-shifting. Finally, I just looked at my husband and said, I am gone. I'm taking the kids and I'm gone. I was ready to go. I had to get out of there. So we ended up moving into a subdivision and just letting that house sit there. And nobody, like, lived there. And we moved to a subdivision where that's another story. But like I said, everywhere I've ever lived, you know, had paranormal something, you know, because I'm sensitive to it. So after about 9 months, I was like, this is so silly. We're over here paying outrageous rent to live in this subdivision, and we own a house. What are we doing? So I had got up the nerve after 9 months to move back into the house. Why did I do that? I don't know. So we stayed there approximately 6 months and moved out. This time sold the house. We moved out. We were done. So then we moved out of that house and moved into this house. Another haunted house. But then again, all the houses were haunted. And this house is another story. Oh my God, we could be here all day with this house. But yeah, that was kind of the paranormal story of the house I used to live in. And I'm like, still to this day, when we drive down the street, I'm like, go the other way, go the other way. Because I'm thinking that guy's going to be on the porch. He's going to come home with us, you know. So I'm like, go the other way. But it was crazy. And we stayed there for 5 years. 5 long, agonizing, haunted years. Except for the 9 months toward the end that we went to the subdivision and then came back. But yeah, that was a crazy experience. So, but it was true. And I think sometimes I think about the people that bought the house, and I think, should I knock on the door and ask them if they ever have like any weird experiences? And I'm like, hell no, I ain't going back over there, you know. But I do wonder how crazy it is over there. I still wonder about it. Frightening. And if I can find a picture of my old house, which I'm sure I have one, I'll put it right here so you can see what our house looked like. And I'm sure everybody knows what my house now looks like, because I take pictures constantly and throw them on Instagram. So you know. So that was my paranormal story. And yeah, I'm sure I have a lot more for you. So this weekend we are going to Brazil, Indiana to go to the 100 Step Cemetery, and I will be vlogging that and putting that here for everybody to see. So I hope I get some pretty cool things from that. So if you're not already and you'd like to be, I would love for you to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up so I know you'd like to see more videos like this one. So everybody have a great week. Bye!